Down to top sustained winds of 85 miles per hour, down from 105 at this time on Thursday morning. The position not too far different than it was 24 hours ago, since Aletta at last report was stationary. Pressure 979 millibars, 29.81 inches of mercury. Satellite picture shows that Aletta is not nearly as well developed, well organized as it was this time yesterday morning. And although it is stationary, the hurricane is expected to begin a slow west or northwest movement pretty soon as it weakens down to a tropical storm again within about 72 hours. The only effect, by the way, on the Mexican coastline will be large swells, large waves the next few days, but no significant rainfall expected at this point as Aletta moves out to sea. So back to the lower 48, where we have an ice day developing for the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, preceding what could be a rather stormy weekend for a lot of you in the east, especially Sunday and Memorial Day on Monday. Right now, though, it's the plains getting hammered from Nebraska and Kansas and Missouri, south through Oklahoma and Texas, where severe storms are roaming the landscape this morning in the north central part of the state. Well, back to the east, things have quieted down. The lingering rain in Maine should end soon, and storms in the Carolinas have moved offshore. Now, as we head west, the weather gets much more turbulent. We have a portion of a tornado watch and part of a severe thunderstorm watch left from southeast Kansas into Oklahoma at this hour. Now to the north, look at the rain around Kansas City. It's torrential. Down to Chinook, Kansas, and west to Wichita. Lots of rain in your weather story, as well as around Emporia, Manhattan, and Topeka. Tulsa, west of you, a line of very strong storms. They have brought some flooding rain to Osage County overnight and are just pushing a little bit north of Oklahoma City. Actually, storms probably in the downtown area right now. No warnings in effect at this time, but you can bet on some heavy rain and frequent lightning and briefly gusty winds, and more storms up in the Ozark Plateau region of southern Missouri. Now, it's in Texas where the warnings are posted. The latest one coming in for Wichita, parts of Cotton, and also Tillman County in north central Texas. Large severe thunderstorms here moving east at 40 miles an hour. Expect some rough conditions, including the possibility of isolated tornadoes in north central Texas. Now back to Alabama and Mississippi. Showers and thunder showers. The ones west of Tupelo look fairly strong at this time with a lot of lightning and torrential downpours of rain. Winds will be blustery at times. Checking on the dew points. The story here, a highly moisture-laden atmosphere, especially in Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma. Mid-70-degree dew points spreading on to the north, and as they interact, that low-level moisture interacts with low pressure. It means a lot of rain today, at least an inch or two for most of you inside the darker green shading, but a lot of spots could pick up 3 to 4 inches of rain with this northeastward moving low-pressure center. Now back to the southeast, there were some big storms around yesterday, ahead of the cold front, which is now settling south through South Dakota, South Carolina, I should say, and Georgia. One thing it'll do is bring an end to the storms in the Carolinas for most of the day and bring less hot conditions. So Columbia, South Carolina, after 101 yesterday, back to the upper 80s this afternoon. Here's the northeast for you. High pressure moving in, rain moving out. Looks like a very nice day, but expect some very nice conditions in Chicago, too. The rain moves in tonight, and Saturday is going to be a soaker in the Windy City. Right now, heavy rain around Omaha and Lincoln, as well as Kansas City. To the west we go. Scattered showers persist across the plateau and the northwest. Looking at the forecast maps, well, we have low pressure moving out into the center of the country. Lots of rain, but the northeast, excellent. 72 Philadelphia, a hot day in New Orleans. Looking pretty good in Chicago, but lots of wet weather in Kansas City. Fair skies, though, in Los Angeles. Cheryl?
Well, Rick was showing us some of those heavier showers and thunderstorms pounding parts of the Midwest, and those thunderstorms could cause some major headaches later on down the road as we look at some of these outdoor activities for this upcoming holiday weekend, like the Indy 500. Perhaps on Sunday there could be some lingering showers across the Hoosier State with temperatures in the upper 60s. Showers and storms will eventually target places like Charlotte, North Carolina, and that could pose some problems too for the Charlotte Coca-Cola 600, also being run on Sunday. Now, as far as temperatures are concerned, very warm and very sticky across much of the country. 80s, 90s, 100s very common throughout the southern tier of states. So perhaps this holiday weekend might find you heading off to the swimming pools. That's going to be certainly a very popular spot. Meanwhile, to the north, much cooler temperatures, 60s and 70s around the Great Lakes back towards New England. But here comes another wave of heavy thunderstorms moving in across the Mississippi Valley, sliding over towards the Ohio Valley for Saturday. Sunday, too, looks as if it may be a washout for some of you across the east.
Well, stay with us. Coming up, we'll review the current conditions and the forecast for your Friday. Stay tuned.
First Outlook is sponsored by Nortel Networks. We're building the new high-performance internet.
When I give my girlfriend a gift, I try to think like her. And since I know she's thinking of me, I just buy her something I want. Like a dune buggy.
So what's on for today?
Boss wants you, me, and Charlie to take the new Silverado and move them bales.
Is that Charlie?
Chevy Silverado.
Big storms are in progress over Oklahoma and Arkansas. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Storm Watch. I'm Kelly Cass. Let's take a look at the situation as I read off the warnings that are currently in effect across Oklahoma and Arkansas, eastern Sequoia County, Adair County, and southeastern Delaware County. All three of those in Oklahoma, that's in effect until 11:30 Central Daylight Time, and three counties in northwest Arkansas, Benton, Crawford, and Washington counties until 11:30 Central Daylight Time. Storms are moving east at 40 miles per hour. Could be some large hail and some gusty winds with those storms. The vapor loop showing the storms quite nicely here in the nation's heartland. Plenty of moisture to work with. Just a stream of moisture moving up out of the Gulf of Mexico out ahead of our warm front. And there you see the lightning strikes. Frequent cloud-to-ground lightning across eastern Missouri, St. Louis, not too far from St. Louis, and also getting into southern and central Illinois. And there are the storms that are going in northeast Oklahoma and getting into northwest Arkansas. So we're going to be watching these storms very carefully as we head into the afternoon hours. There is what's left of our severe thunderstorm watch, only the eastern third of this across extreme eastern Oklahoma. Notice we do have some clearing taking place across western half of the state. However, the storms are still going pretty strong here, anywhere from just south of Tulsa down into just approaching the Texarkana area, actually. Taking a look at Des Moines, we've also had some stormy weather here too, but right now basically just dealing with a widespread rain right along I-80 here. Heavy rain to the south, moving northward, but there is a little bit of a break now developing across extreme southern Iowa, so it looks like we'll be in for another break in Des Moines coming up this afternoon. Here's Kansas City, where we also had some stormy weather this morning, also catching a break. Drier weather to the west. Manhattan, Topeka, down to Emporia and Wichita are dry at this hour. However, we could have more development come later on this afternoon. Storms are still going just south of Jefferson City. Jefferson City picking up quite a bit of rainfall earlier today. Some amounts in this area have picked up as much as 4 inches of rain. We could see more in addition to that. There's St. Louis. Thunderstorms just off to the south. Got some thunder showers moving across Illinois as well. Mount Vernon, hearing some thunder just off to your west, and the showers and thunderstorms extend down to just east of Cape Girardeau. There's a look at Oklahoma. There's that line that's exiting Oklahoma and moving into northwest Arkansas. That's why we have the warnings in effect until 11:30 Central Daylight Time. And you can see the darker oranges and reds. That indicates where we have the heaviest rain and perhaps some hail with those storms as well as they move to the east at 40 miles per hour. So be very careful traveling. I know it's getaway day, Friday before Memorial Day weekend, but watch out on I-35, 70 as well as 40 for some big storms to develop, and this is through midnight tonight, so we're expecting more activity even this afternoon and this evening. Of course, with all the rainfall that we have had, it has prompted some flood watches that are currently going for portions of western Texas, northern Oklahoma, and getting into extreme south central Kansas. So watch out if you live near a creek or stream. Keep an eye on those rising waters. Take a look at our radar of the south. Not only do we have the showers and storms going in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois, but this line also extends right along a warm front down into portions of Alabama, just to the north and east of Birmingham. And also we have some showers developing just to the south of the Atlanta metro area. Wet weather is also here in the west across Seattle, Keep those umbrellas handy and be careful traveling along I-5. And we've also got some showers at times. We've seen some lightning strikes with this little batch right here moving across eastern Montana. Notice the heavier rains falling there. Just some scattered showers around the Four Corners region. We had some stormy weather in Denver and Boulder yesterday, but those storms have now pushed off into the south central plain states. Temperatures right now, it is cool in the northeast. It's a beautiful day for traveling here in New York City, Philadelphia, mid-60s, looking for highs in the 70s. Just a gorgeous day. However, as you head further to the south, of course, this is where you hate the heat and humidity. Atlanta checking in at 77 degrees at this hour. Pleasant temperatures here, but this is where we also have the stormy weather. More clouds, showers and storms here. 70 degrees in Chicago. Your showers and storms arrive later on this evening into the overnight hours, and watch out for some windy conditions at times.
Garden Claw, one of America's favorite garden tools, is good as gold. It adjusts to fit gardeners of all sizes. Garden Claw Gold helps you cultivate, loosen, aerate, and weed without being tough on your back. The claw's steel tines tear through all kinds of soil, even clay, bringing moisture and oxygen to plants' roots. And it turns weeds and leaves into beneficial mulch. Garden Claw Gold makes a great gift.
Available at Home Depot and participating Ace, True Value, and Do It Best hardware stores. Makes a great gift.
We all do dumb things. Paying too much for car insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. We all do dumb things. Paying too much for car insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Lightning hits the Earth an estimated 100 times per second. Hail can reach speeds of 120 miles per hour before it hits the ground. That's why we're here, with the most meteorologists of any network, to give you expert round-the-clock forecasting. So to find out if a spring shower will turn into this,
We are seeing a lot of storms this afternoon, and it could be another very rough night, especially in the south central plains, and we will take a closer look at that situation in just a moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overall pattern now, and we do have a pretty vigorous upper disturbance moving through the Midwest, the northern plains. You can see a little bit of rotation here. This is water vapor imagery. You can see that spin right there. That's disturbance number one. And there's another one now pulling out of the southwest. A little bit of upper level energy here pulling on out. And what that will do is provide lift, help to evacuate the air above the thunderstorms that develop and make them more efficient. And for that reason, things could really get going in this area right here. For now, most of the action is around this low, around the warm front here, right on into the Mississippi Valley. We're seeing a few storms pop up here, but we do think that things again could really get going parts of Oklahoma and Texas. The lightning now pretty much confined to the high plains, and also here the Ohio Valley and the Mississippi Valley. We'll show you some close-up radars there in just a moment. And here are the watches right now. We have severe thunderstorm watches, parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, back into Arkansas. That line is pulling eastward, so we've shaved a little bit of this box back here. And tornado watches in effect in Kansas and also in parts of Oklahoma and North Texas, including the Childress area. You've been hit hard for the last couple of days, and it looks like it could happen again today. On the radar picture now, we're seeing a line of thunderstorms right along the Mississippi River, some heavier rains a little farther northward through central Illinois. Then it's mostly light to moderate rain as we get farther northward, and we have some big thunderstorms here in Kansas. And again, that line may extend farther southward or develop here and then begin to connect as we go through the night. We'll take you on a little radar tour, starting off in the high plains here, some big storms east of Denver and Colorado Springs. These are moving along towards the east. We have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings associated with these. And right along 70 could be kind of a rough ride this afternoon. That is also the case in Kansas. Watch out in Topeka. Big storms just off to your west here, entirely capable of producing a lot of wind and large hail. It could be a rough afternoon in Kansas. And then farther eastward, we have some heavier rains here right along the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys and into St. Louis. More storms just firing up now and off to your west and off to your south and right along I-55. We did have a report at about 3:30 local time of 75-mile-an-hour winds in New Madrid. So that gives you some idea of what kind of storms we're dealing with here. Now this line has moved into western parts of Tennessee, northern parts of Memphis as well. Watch out along I-40 here in West Tennessee. You certainly could see some wind and some hail along with this line, and obviously very, very heavy rain and frequent lightning. And then farther northward again, this is mostly light to moderate rain, the exception being western parts of Nebraska and South Dakota. We are seeing some pretty big storms fire up here. We have had some severe thunderstorm warnings associated with these, and we could see more action in the middle of the country here as we go through the night. We're also seeing some storms in the tail end of the warm front in parts of eastern Tennessee and also south of Atlanta, south and east of Atlanta. This little cluster of storms has really settled down within the last couple of hours here. We're seeing more, though, just off to your west in Charleston. Boy, was it a rough night in South Carolina last night. We had a report of grapefruit-size hail in Florence, which is right about here. Now the bigger storms off to the south and to the west. Augusta on southward and down towards Savannah and then out along I-16. Quick check on the northeast for you. Things looking pretty quiet tonight. A few showers, northern parts of New England, that's about it. And into the west, we are seeing some light to moderate rains now into Big Sky country. Very quiet, though, down through the southwestern California. And a quick check on our hurricane here. Not nearly as organized as it was over the last couple of days. This is Hurricane Aletta, south of Mexico. It is moving to the northwest at 2, 75-mile-an-hour winds, central pressure 985 millibars. Well, we could be in for another rough day tomorrow in the Midwest and right on down towards Texas. We'll have the very latest on your forecast and the current severe weather situation coming up in a few minutes on Weather Center. Stay tuned.
It's allergy season. Or Allegra season. Enjoy your world with non-drowsy Allegra for people 12 and over. In clinical studies, less than 3% of people experience drowsiness, cold or flu, nausea, or menstrual pain. Ask your doctor for more information about Allegra and turn this allergy season into Allegra season. Enjoy your world.
It's more than just a way to mow your lawn. It's a connection to 163 years of hard-earned truths passed down from the Great Plains to your backyard. It's the technology of the most advanced farm equipment in the world, helping you care for your own private piece of the planet. It is John Deere Solid, and now it can be yours for less than $2,000. The LT-133. See for yourself. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Lightning hits the Earth an estimated 100 times per second. Hail can reach speeds of 120 miles per hour before it hits the ground. That's why we're here, with the most meteorologists of any network, to give you expert round-the-clock forecasting. So to find out if a spring shower will turn into this.
About the overall situation, this storm watch sponsored by Liberty Mutual. And we have very warm and humid air streaming on up from the Gulf of Mexico, drier air moving in from the southwest. That's the dry line right there, the leading edge of that dry air. And of course, a boundary here, cooler and drier air, separated from the very warm and humid air by that boundary right there. Along these boundaries, along with these areas of low pressure, we have seen tremendous thunderstorms today. There has also been an upper level system moving on in, so plenty of lift in the atmosphere, and really, it has been an incredible day in terms of storms. Just amazing coverage here, anywhere from Kentucky and Tennessee back through the middle of the nation, right on down towards Texas. Tremendous storms here, and look at all of the watches we had to tell you about. Severe thunderstorm watch now, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. Tornado watches in Oklahoma, including Oklahoma City. Another severe thunderstorm watch north of Little Rock, parts of Arkansas, another one around St. Louis, east and central parts of Missouri, and yet another one here in south central Kansas. So a lot of action here tonight, and look at all of these clusters of storms here. I mean, it's just amazing when you consider the aerial coverage of all this active weather here. Not necessarily a line, but several clusters of storms, and they really have been prolific severe weather producers. We'll start you off here in parts of Kansas and Missouri. Look at these big storms just south and west of Salina. You've had active weather already today in the central part of the state. Get ready for round 2, and these are pretty nasty looking storms here. They certainly could put out a lot of wind and put down some very large hail. We still do have a tornado warning in effect for Morgan County in Missouri associated with that line right there. That's in effect for about another 8 minutes or so. That's also a very impressive line of storms, and that could certainly put down some hail. You could see a lot of wind coming out from the leading edge of that line right there. Notice how this kind of comes up into a comma shape right here. That's what we call a little mezzo-low, sort of like a mini cold front. And so ahead of that line, there's going to be a lot of wind kind of focused right in this area here. Watch out in western parts of Illinois. It could be pretty rough over the next hour or so. Again, we take you into western Kansas. This cluster of storms settled a little bit. Now it's beginning to get going again, probably moving into some more juice. And it really does look impressive here. So again, watch out for hail and high wind here. And then farther southward, eastern parts of Oklahoma, we are seeing some cells pop up now right along I-40. These cells west of Oak City were very nasty earlier. There was a very well-defined hook echo that indicates a lot of rotation and tornadoes most likely. And in fact, we did have a spotter report of a tornado west of Oak City in Caddo County. Now these cells have calmed down a good bit. It's mostly just rain with some embedded thunder at this point. But again, new cells firing up here in eastern Oklahoma, and then a little farther eastward in northern Arkansas. Great big storms here too. We've seen a little bit of bowing with these, and that's a pretty good indication that we could see a lot of wind here. Finally, farther southward, we've had this one lone cell to deal with through much of the evening in north and central Texas. This one put down a tornado in Throckmorton and baseball-size hail and continues to rumble now, about ready to cross 35. A little farther southward, just a few storms right along 35 here, just to the west of Austin. Looks like this is beginning to settle down a little bit. And finally, we take you into the southeast, and we've had active weather tonight across the state of Tennessee, some tornado warnings. And into the eastern part of the state now, still a line of thunderstorms, but here too, it does seem to be settling down a little bit. Northeast looking pretty good, but rain is on the way and should be into parts of D.C. or actually parts of Maryland and around D.C. as we get into the afternoon tomorrow. The west in pretty good shape, but there is an onshore flow right here. And finally, we take a quick look at what is left of Hurricane Aletta. This is a tropical storm at this point and weakening rapidly. The winds down to 70 miles an hour. It is stationary, and central pressure 990 millibars. There's a look at your forecast for tomorrow. We'll have complete details coming up on Weather Center. Stay tuned.
This program was sponsored by Liberty Mutual. For more information, visit our website at www.libertymutual.com.
I'm a professional vandal. I break in, damage, destroy. I'm Peter Day, and I train our claims adjusters at Liberty Mutual Insurance to help them understand what it's like to lose a home. I help them build one, and then I destroy it. It makes us better at assessing damage from storms, fires, and just about anything else that threatens your home.
At Liberty Mutual, we help you live a safer, more secure life. It's insurance in action.
Think of it as tough love.
Can't get to the post office? Now the post office is wherever you are.
People in Hollywood aren't always famous for looking natural. That's why I love new Natural Contours by Cross Your Heart. It's a look that's more rounded, more curvy, more look at me. Natural Contours, new from Cross Your Heart.
How empty it seems with only my dreams.
The weather's at its worst.